Hello, my name is acbtheman, and welcome to Radio Epic. Number 7, and just a quick disclaimer before we go on to introductions, there will be a lot of talk about Destiny 2, so if you don't want to hear anything about it or as little as possible, go ahead and hit pause right now. So, first up, we have bnelly. bnelly, how are you doing, and how excited are you for Destiny 2 now that we've seen some things about it?
I am doing good tonight, and I'm super excited for Destiny 2.
So, Doc Shenanigans, how are you doing? And same questions, I guess.
I'm doing great. I'm stoked for that revamped Hunter Gunslinger. That's going to be so sweet.
Have you seen the Golden Gun actually pop yet?
I have. It was glorious.
It looks very nice. And then finally, we have one of the other founders of Clan Epic. We have hotdergfingers. So, Derg, how are you doing? You essentially are the reason, from what I understand, that Epic is here. So, sort of maybe give a little bit of a take on how it started, what you do in the clan, and sort of what you do in Destiny in general.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Our clan kind of got started on a chance. I didn't really have anybody to play with, and none of my friends had Destiny. I was just by myself, doing everything by myself. I went to Bungie's website to look up some clans where I wanted people who were serious about the game, but still fun and not rage quitters and get angry at you if you didn't know anything. So I went through some groups, and I found a group called Elders of Destiny, and I looked through the members roster, and I found somebody named Lore. So I added him as a friend. A week passes by. It's Nightfall Tuesday. I wanted to complete it. I saw that Lore was online, and I checked to see what he was doing, and he was doing Nightfall with one other person. So I just assumed that it was another Elders of Destiny clan member. So I just hopped into their game and said, hey guys, you need any help? And now, of course, I've never even introduced myself to him. I just jumped in as a random person, and I'm glad I did. As soon as I got in, they were both stuck in a hallway with 3 wizards just gunning them down. I just hopped in. There was a Titan and a Warlock, and my Hunter just showed up, and I had the Gallahorn, which was actually my first exotic. I got lucky with that one. I didn't even know how important the Gallahorn was when I got it. I was just like, hey, a rocket launcher, my first exotic. Sweet. Anyways, I shot the wizards down, and then both turned around like, who are you? And you just saved our butt. And after that Nightfall, we just had such a great time. We just dedicated every Tuesday night to play Nightfall with each other, and we developed a friendship. We wanted to start doing raids, so Laura found the 100. And just started finding random people, and the more people we found, we invited them to the group, and it kept getting bigger and bigger, and that's what Epic is today.
Well, let me be one of the first ones to thank you for this group, and we'll get into more Destiny 2 stuff in just a little bit, but hopefully some of that clan stuff is in-game a little bit bigger than 100, but we currently have almost 600 members of the 100 Epic group, and roughly 300 on a Slack channel where we talk to each other. So just thank you for starting this group. I guess thank you for joining in on the Summoning Pits Nightfall with Coop and Lore, because it definitely has helped a lot of Guardians out.
Our Epic group is like family to me. I'm shocked at how big it's gotten, and there's so many great people. If I had the time, I'd play with everybody. I just kind of slacked off a little bit since I've done a lot of the things you can do, but our clan is great, and I love it.
Well, thank you. So, done everything there is to do. So, holy crap, guys. Destiny 2 reveal on the 18th of May, a couple days ago. There is so much to talk about and so much to look at. It is going to be such a good experience. The very first thing that they sort of jumped in and showed us was how the story missions themselves are going to be more cinematic, how they're going to have more story in game. Excuse me, sorry about that. In game, and I don't know. I'm just super excited about it, and that's one of the first things. We'll get to some other topics, like how maybe some of the classes have changed, but more story in game. We get to see NPCs use supers.
That's pretty unique. Yeah.
That's a huge change.
Very excited about that.
Interesting to see how much that is actually in play in the story missions. How often you have your NPC buddies with you.
Well, I'm hoping a lot because they even showed off when they were talking about the patrols. They showed off NPC characters in the game world. So I'm hoping I'm hoping a lot. If you think back to their former days with Halo, especially Halo Reach, where you had a bunch of other NPCs, they had their own scripted thing, yes, but they were in the mission with you. So I'm hoping that they're looking back towards some of that and looking at some of the community feedback and saying, well, there needs to be some reason for them to connect to these Vanguard people than just that they give you bounties and stuff.
I agree. Honestly, I mean, you can't. I mean, they made such great titles with the Halo Reach series and the Halo universe in general. But I mean, like, I think they did it right when they had Master Chief as their, primary character, because you were given the option to essentially feel like the Master Chief. Not necessarily you're like given a character with their own personality kind of thing, but like you feel as that person. And you had that with Destiny a little bit because, like, I mean, your character, we have no name that we know of, really no real attachment to that person. But then, like, there's really, as you said, there's really no connection to anybody in the game besides your ghost. So, and of course Cade, because everybody loves Cade.
Oh, of course.
But, I think actually having NPCs and having more animated characters in the game, will really, like, enhance and probably profoundly just change the way we've looked at Destiny, currently, to how we, like, see it in the future and how it actually comes out. I think I will enjoy it a little more. Actually have something I can relate to rather than just, being like the lone wolf.
Yeah, I won't feel
and
so
just
empty
shooting
out there
around
anymore.
like normal. So,
Well, even if even if they don't give a lot of character to our specific Guardians, because maybe they're just trying to keep it generic, you will still feel some connection to somebody in there. And so even if it's not to your specific Guardian, which I can say another time, I've made up backstories for all three of my Guardians. But I will, I'm just going to connect to somebody a little bit more. And it's going to be awesome that there's going to be something to dig your claws into story-wise. Maybe the lore might be in there. But it's just going to be, just something awesome again to be in there. Also, one thing that I thought, they are characterizing their main bad guy in a way that I don't think we've seen before yet. When we have fought these main bad guys, yeah, there's been a little bit of talk. Maybe Orcs had a little bit more lines, I think. Not really. But there hasn't been really characterizations. It's just been this big guy you have to go kill. And they're even giving personality to the antagonist. And so I'm just excited for the story that's in there. Hopefully lore and stuff can be integrated a little bit more. But it's super exciting to know that we're going to have something to dig our feet into and just,
Yeah, I like that they're giving you more of a reason to actually go after him, and not just be like, oh, I guess I'll do the story missions. I guess that'll get me the raid.
Oh, those Vex are bad guys? Yeah, sure, I'll go kill them if you want me to.
It's a little something more concrete.
Well, speaking of concrete, spoilers again, if you didn't heed the warning at the beginning. They have officially stolen the Traveler and blocked off its connection to Guardians. And so, in doing so, we don't have light. We're somehow going to get it back. But they showed off 3 new subclasses. Being a Warlock main now, I think I'm going to have to switch back to Titan. But we essentially had a shield Titan. It's a void shield. It looks like Captain America throws the shield just the same way. There is a sword Warlock, Dawnblade, who will just throw swords at everybody and generally burn things, sort of like the Sunsinger, but a little cooler looking. And then there is the I don't know the name of it, but it's a staff hunter. Go ahead.
Arcstrider.
Arcstrider, or better known to the community already as the pole dancers. Um, but these are new subclasses, and so I just said I'm going with Titan again. These are getting me excited. I don't know about the old ones that match. I don't know if Blade Dancer, Sunsinger, or Defender are going to be there, but I'm just excited that something new is coming.
The supers definitely look and feel way more like supers than they do
Yes.
in Destiny 1. They look so much better.
So, is anyone scared of the roaming striker Titan?
I feel like that's gonna be such a bullshit in PvP. I don't know about that. I saw so many things in the gameplay that I'm like, oh my god, that's gonna wreck me so hard in the Crucible.
So many people crying, nerf it!
Like year one all over again.
From what I see, the explosions are smaller, and you're gonna have to be right up on. But essentially you get 3 Fist of Havocs, or you get a Fist of Havoc and like 5 Sun Charges, but they're arc Sun Charges. So you essentially get a super Mega Drive shoulder charge and 1 smash. It's gonna be awesome, and there's definitely ways to counter it, but it's gonna be scary now to face a Striker Titan.
Well, and also keep in mind too, we also have 6 subclasses potentially that we don't know anything about. So I mean, we could easily have something that would maybe even counter one of these, so-called OP, things that we're talking about. But like maybe there's something that would be able to go up against that with, like either shutting it down or, like kind of like how the Defender Titan with the bubble can kind of shut down a couple of supers. Maybe we get something of that nature from one of the other subclasses that we don't know about.
Well, we're gonna get into weapons in a little bit, but apparently the energy weapon slots, if someone's in their super, your energy weapon will do extra damage to it no matter what burn type right now. So there's some things already set in place to help that. But it looked very cool to see somebody smash and then still have super energy, and I just thinking I can't wait to either run that or run that Shield Titan. But speaking of some new stuff, each class now has a sort of class-specific ability that sort of makes them feel more like individual classes and not just slightly tweaked versions. So first off, we have Titans. You can either have a small wall that is hip high, that it's just a projection, but you can create a wall that's hip high. You can create a wall that is floor to ceiling high. Hunters on each of their subclasses will have a version of Shade Step. It's not technically Shade Step because the Gunslinger didn't roll with the guns. They have a version where they can sort of dodge on the ground. And Warlocks have a sort of buff area on the ground where they will put either healing buff or a attack power buff, sort of like a War of Dawn, but without the actual bubble. I think this is going in a direction where we're sort of pulling more towards those ideas of the Titan, the Hunter, or the Warlock. And I don't know. I was more excited about being able to put up a wall as a Titan than almost anything else from that gameplay trailer.
From the videos, it looks really cool. And I'm a Hunter, and I was looking at the Titan, and the Titan, I was like, wow, that's awesome.
Well, to be fair, you can run through it, but it will stop most damage from coming through. But the Hunter is getting essentially Shade Step, and one of the options you can pick is when you Shade Step, you get your ammo back. So you could potentially have a very good hand cannon, empty it on 2 or 3 enemy guardians, Shade Step, and then have your gun instantly reloaded. I don't know exactly what it's called, but that sounds very useful.
It sounds very fun.
I think they're following Destiny 1's thing, and they're going to have to nerf the Hunter subclass again.
At least need a couple of good months out of it. That's all I want.
Yes, yes.
Well, but speaking of nerfs and buffs and stuff, have y'all seen how the skill trees look right now?
Yes, I kind of like how it's branched off into different sections.
Yeah, I like it looks so much cleaner.
So for those of you who don't know, and before I go off on my rant, it does look cleaner. But for those of you who don't know, you have your super kind of in the middle, and then branching off on sort of each side of the diamond. I think up is your grenade abilities, and they're pretty much the same. They don't do as much damage to enemies in PvP anymore. We'll talk about that later. But grenades on top, um, melee abilities on bottom. On the left side is your new class ability, and on the right side is where your class perks are. But now instead of having just rows and columns to pick from as many as you want and kind of change it, they have what they're calling attunements, which are groups of 4 perks that kind of work well together. So while there's not going to be as much customization where you can't pick and choose your own perks, they're giving you a group of 4 perks for your class. Those perks are working well together. And to me, it seems like they're trying to make it easier to balance things so they don't have to, balance one specific node and that completely messes up the way you played or, stuff like that. They're looking to make it a whole lot easier for casual players, too, to come in if they're just like, oh, here's an attunement and I just play with these 4 perks. Instead of which perk should I use here and now? What are your guys' thoughts on the attunement process, I guess, and that kind of perk setup?
Well, I think as like for me as an avid raider, it gets kind of monotonous playing the same like raids the same way all the time. And so like I think having more options for different play styles or just different ways to physically do a raid or anything for that matter, but just to do anything would be fantastic. Especially for a game there's so many ways to, you've already got your 3 different classes of character, and then they've all got their subclasses. I think just having a different way to play that might be good. I guess I just want the choice, is what it boils down to. It's like not always having to play, if I'm like doing Wrath of the Machine, if I'm playing a Titan, gonna be on Bubble through part of it, maybe Sun or what the hell is it called? Sunbreaker for the other part, like just maybe just choice, just something different. So I'm liking it. I like that change.
Well, I mean, you get to, it depends on your game style too. I'm more of a defensive player, so I like to kind of stay back a little bit, kind of assess the situation, then I'll shoot the enemies. So if I get to pick which perks I like, which, goes with how I'm playing at the moment. I like the option to pick and choose what would be best for how I play too.
Well, hopefully there's more attunements than just 2, or maybe more will come out. But for me, I'm 50-50 on this one. I like how it's given you just the option to, here's your set of perks. This set of perks plays this way, and you can tell how it plays. But at the same time, you don't get to do that pick and choose of everything individually, which I guess is okay. From watching videos of some of the gameplay, some of the enemies didn't feel so like spongy, where you needed max damage, so you can sort of pick and choose how you want to play. But do you want to get into any of these specifics of the specific classes? Because even though I want to run that shield titan, that golden gun, the revamped golden gun, is going to be so much fun to play.
Yeah, I mean, you get 6 shots with a golden gun now too. I'm excited just for the 6 shots. Yes.
Glad to have those throwing knives back. That's my favorite part.
Exploding throwing knives was one of the attunements.
Yes.
So the new super, instead of pulling up just a generic golden gun, it looks now like the last word animation. First off, then there's one of the attunements where if you get precision hits with the golden gun. The golden gun lasts a little bit longer, so you don't have to shoot all your shots off at once. The golden gun shots do extra damage the more hits you do, and you generate orbs with the hits. So we're now looking at potentially a support golden gun class with a sort of hunter's dodge where you can reload your ammo. I think they're looking to make it to where you can pick your class and not feel pigeonholed into saying, oh, well, the golden gun's really not the best, even though I like it, so I may have to run Night Stalker on this point. You actually can do things that help out your team if you want to run golden gun if you're golden gun main, which is looking very awesome for people who really love one particular subclass. But that golden gun animation, it looks the animations. I know because they're on the newer generation, they just look so fluid. And I know that Destiny 1 animations were cool, but that golden gun animation is like, oh, I am a gunslinger now, and not just here's your generic hand cannon.
Popping a shiny gun and shooting things. It's just you get to see the whole thing. I agree, it looks really good.
Anybody want to talk about the Striker Titan or the what's it, Dawnbringer? Dawn something? Dawn Caller? I don't know.
But man, out of all the new subclasses, that Dawn Blade looks badass. I swear, I've seen the videos. I'm like, damn it, I don't run a Warlock, but that is cool. That is the coolest one that I've seen. I'm like, why couldn't you make the Hunter look so awesome? I mean, I like the rod and everything, the pole dancer, but that Dawn Blade, that is awesome.
But like specifically, what I like is there are way different ways to play. I know it can change, but right now that Dawn Blade has essentially two versions. One of the attunements is like, here's a ton of damage, and the other attunement is literally staying in the air. They have like an Angel of Light style perk where if you get precision hits, you stay in the air longer. There's also a perk on there where if you hold down B, you shoot straight to the ground, so you're not floofing around. So you can hold B, shoot straight to the ground, and when you hit the ground, you do damage, a small area of effect, bit of damage around you. And so it's just going to have so many new things to do, and as much as you can still counter it, that's going to be one of the ones, too, where someone's going to pop that Dawn Collar, and I'm going to run around the corner into a sword and cry and run away. So we have a lot of story that's coming out. We have a lot of these new subclasses, but the world building too. They said that the patrol spaces, which we now should have 4, but the patrol spaces will be twice as big as the biggest patrol space in Destiny 1. But so there's 4 patrol spaces twice that big. There's going to be NPCs, there's going to be treasure maps, there's going to be dungeons that are not, from what I understand from their word, they're not strikes. They're specifically harder areas of the patrol map to go into. And so it looks like they're taking a lot of stuff from MMOs, which they're still trying to beat Looter Shooter. They're taking a lot of stuff from MMOs to fill that patrol space up, to make it feel like you want to do patrols. And so this is some of the world building stuff that we have been asking for. I guess any extra thoughts besides that rant?
Well, that aspect to me looks a lot like Borderlands, which
That's what I was thinking.
love because that just running around in Borderlands and finding things to do is one of the greatest parts of the game, I think. And I really like that they're bringing that into Destiny and making the world feel a little more alive outside of just like, shooting bad guys.
I mean, they showed a guy in the European Dead Zone. We will go talk to him, and he will have missions for us. They specifically said side missions in patrol. So you're going to go to somebody in patrol, say, I'm here, and they're going to say, good, do this thing. And that's going to, we're going to want to do patrol.
Yeah, because everybody hated doing it before.
Yeah, really wanting to do patrol. That'll be new. It'll be really exciting too, because that's pretty much just sitting like useless right now. No one really goes and does that unless you need it for a quest.
That's literally what I did part of this evening. Was I was like, I've got a patrol quest I need to finish. I hate my life. I'm gonna go do this for like 45 minutes. Because it was like a lot of like MVP kills or something I had to do. And I was like, this sucks. Because I was just like driving around, floating around, I guess, trying to find MVP patrol missions to do. And it took forever. I hated it.
Even pulling them and getting rid of them. Just you go back to an area, you haven't respawned your patrol beacons yet. That really, yeah. So even if they have patrol quests, you can ignore them, or patrol bounties or whatever. You can ignore them and go do something else in patrol. And so, speaking of exploration, real fast, just as a side note, no more orbit.
I read that. I wonder what that's going to be like.
From what I understand, is essentially you will have two screens. You'll have your inventory screen, and either one of those tabs or a separate button press will pull open the directory straight where you are. So you could be in patrol and pull open the directory and say, I want to go do PvP, and it will take you straight to PvP. And then at the end of one of the PvP matches, at the end of that, you say, oh, I want to go do a strike. You go straight to the strike instead of having to load to orbit and then go. Which could be a little bit of a hassle if there's not sort of an orbit-style place for a main menu. Excuse me. If you're trying to pick somebody up and you're in patrol and you're having to pick them up and go, it could be an issue. But I do like that you don't necessarily have to go to orbit to go to the next thing. It's literally from here to there.
To sidebar on that topic of needing to go to orbit, they might not even make it so you have to go to orbit to pick up people. You might just be able to jump in on somebody doing whatever, like, sorry, fire team limit size willing, but like if you're doing like a patrol, you might just be able to join in on somebody, or whatever, depending on how many people are with them.
Well, with the new in-game clan stuff, should be easier than ever to join in on people like that. I guess we're getting sort of into the quality of life stuff. But this game just seems... I know it's a sequel. I know they're pulling from their old gaming stuff. I know they had time to work on this, more time than they did on Destiny 1. But there's just so many things that are so much smoother. And not having to go to orbit just... I don't know. I really like that. The only sad part is... From what I understand, is if you're loading, it will still kick you out of your menu.
Oh, they didn't. Oh, that's.
But
Yeah.
That's one of the most annoying parts of the
that's a
game
small
that I
price.
It's really not that much of a
It
hindrance.
It's not terrible, but it would have been nice to
I do know, like, honestly, Bungie would be remiss if they didn't make Destiny 2 better and listen to the community. Like, they would be at a loss if they didn't do that. I mean, granted, Destiny 1 vanilla game, not, from what I understand, not fantastic. But, like, they've built a better game, even just trying to finish it out. And with the history that they have with game making, honestly, and all the other great titles out there that are similar to Destiny, like Doc said with Borderlands, which I was going to mention too, like, there's so many examples of things that they can do to make the game better. And if they didn't do that, they would be stupid not to. Like, they'd be absolutely stupid not to.
Well, yeah, but there's still going to be people complaining about what they didn't do. I mean, all this new stuff they're doing, we're still going to find something to nitpick about. So, I mean,
well, it's that same old adage, you can't please everyone. I mean, somebody's going to complain about something, but I think on the whole, like, everything that they've done and that they've released so far are, like, really hitting the major points that people have been discussing, like, having to go to orbit to change, where you're going, just like the lore stuff, the storyline, just having more to do in the world. I think they're, like, as the one guy said, the first guy that talked during the stream, they were listening to the community, because honestly, if the community doesn't like your game, you have no reason to make a game.
It has such a huge fan base. I mean, if you don't listen to us, you're going to lose all these people who love your game.
Hopefully, by the way, PC, definitely 100% confirmed they were playing on PCs there. But PC, hopefully that'll bring in some people to Destiny. Now, there's no cross save or anything, so you can't switch your character from Xbox to PC and vice versa, which stinks, but it's a little bit hard on them. But hopefully that added community there will help strengthen a little bit. But what they're doing right now is fantastic. I just hope they have some time to maybe make a couple extra tweaks as well. So speaking of PC, let's get into a little bit of the specs and everything, and hopefully we can have a nice civil conversation about this because people are not. So on console, on PS4 and on Xbox One, because of some of the older models, from what they're saying, because of some of the older models of the Xbox One and the original PS4, it is locked at 30 frames a second on 30 frames a second, 1080p on, or maybe it was 4K, but it's 30 frames a second on the consoles, and then it's essentially as many frames a second, as fast as you can get it going on the PC. So technically, PC is going to look the best. PlayStation 4 is going to have the exclusives, and Xbox is just going to look nice and be a very good experience. But there are a ton of people already crying about, and I guess that's maybe a harsh word, but crying about the console specs versus the PC specs or something like that. My very quick opinion is play wherever your friends are.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes, I want better frame rate. Yes, I want the exclusives, but we're playing Epic on the Xbox, so I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, that's kind of my idea too. Just play with your friends, pretty much. The best way to go.
I agree, and as somebody who plays PC games a lot, I can tell you it's going to be a very cold day, and you know where, before a console even comes anywhere close to matching a PC in any game. It's going to be a long time, because I mean, there's people that make like Skyrim, that's what, 8-year-old game or something like that. Like, we're pushing 10 years with Skyrim, I think. A game that that's that old, I can have look better than Destiny. In its current version, like, can look better than Destiny. And that's a game that's 10 years old. Just because, like, the graphics on computers look so much better. There's so many people in the modding community that do so many things. Probably, I don't know if it'll happen for Destiny, but we'll wait and see how that goes out. But like, so 6 years.
Sorry, it was 2011, but still, your point still stands though. Your point still stands that the PC is definitely going to look better.
There's no console that's going to come out today that they're ever going to make, or probably any time in the future, that's ever going to come close to what a PC could do. Just because getting a computer, most people, if they're going to get a computer, they're going to spend a couple $1,000s on it. Most people aren't going to spend a couple $1,000s on a console.
No, I bought mine used, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, like, I have, all of my friends basically have made their own computers, built their own computers, and they spent at least $1,000, if not more. And like, those games can run on ultra graphics, and then they can have like that game running and then like 2 other games running at the same time. So I mean, like, there's no comparison ever. But I am glad that Destiny is going to PC because of the community and just to see what it's going to come out as.
Well, if for whatever reason your friends aren't tying you to a console and you really want to jump over to the PC version and make that sort of your main focus, they did say the PC version is being handled by Battle.net, so the same people that did WoW, and it's Blizzard, so they have
Overwatch.
Overwatch. They have a huge track record with handling PC games. They also have Vicarious Vision, who is handling it's not a port. They're actually building from the ground up the same game for PC to make it handle better and work and play better. So if it is your prerogative, yeah, jump over to PC. There'll be plenty of people to do it. But don't make the better graphics your choice. If you have a group of people going over, or you don't have a really group of people, maybe you're new, excuse me, you can. Maybe you want to have it on PC as well, that's okay. But if you're only going to have it one place, stick with your friends. I know there are a couple people from Epic that are going to move over, but most of us are going to stay and wind up playing on Xbox One. So just play where your friends are. Anyways, that's just one thing. That's just one thing I wanted to just kind of get out there because I know a lot of people are talking about that kind of thing. Well, 60 frames a second is definitely better, yes, but it's still going to look fantastic. I mean, they're playing on the PS4 version, and all the footage that you're seeing right now on YouTube is the PS4 version. They did not capture any PC footage, so that's how it's going to look when you're playing it. So,
and plus, just from looking at tweets and gameplay from the people that I follow that went to the event and enjoyed it, from what I've seen there, no one's really had any major complaints about the console versions, even being at 30 frames per second. They say it still looks beautiful. It's super smooth. It's just as impressive.
So there's a couple different things we can talk about, but let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the new PvP because there are definitely some changes to it. Real fast, I'm getting on a tangent. A lot of the Destiny streamers and PvPers there were stomping at the event, getting like 12-1 KDs, stuff like that, because they're facing press guys who don't play the game. I just think that's funny to see some of their footage where they're just wrecking shop. Anyways, so all game modes at launch are 4v4. They're said they're going to do that because it's still peer-to-peer connections. There's no dedicated servers. The maps are easier to make if you make essentially all maps smaller. There are a couple of different things I'll go over in a little bit of why I'm excited about this, but the 4v4 is sort of what our kind of Sweats community graduated towards. And if you think back to the Halo days, 4v4 was their essentially basic game modes. So as much as it's going to stink not to have those two extra people from your raid group come into PvP, I'm excited about this 4v4 mode that's going to be a little bit more methodical from everything we've seen.
I'm kind of excited for the smaller fire teams too. One of the things that always gets me in the 6-on-6 games in Destiny is that I feel like I'm getting shot at from every single direction. And playing those more focused, 3-on-3 games, I just feel like I do a whole lot better in those.
You have to be a little bit more strategic with it with less people.
But coming back from their old roots, most of the other games were 4v4, and so that's how they're used to doing it. And so it's just gonna be, I don't know, it's gonna be a whole lot of more fun. We'll get into guns in just a second, but the UI even, you can see what supers the enemy has. You can see if the enemy has a super up, and in the bottom left-hand corner, when you use a super, it says you cast your super. So it's going to have so much more information for the casual player, but the hardcore player is going to have so much information given to them on both sides that it's just going to be a much more tightly focused gameplay. And I'm ridiculously excited for these smaller stuff. Being able to tell when the enemies, even though you may not be able to counter it, being able to tell enemies popped a super, maybe so you can run away.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
I think they're following the game model of a lot of other competitive games now, because like I know Halo 5's got 4v4. I think it's Warzone. I think is the game mode that's that way, or something like that. I think a lot of professional Call of Duty titles now are running that format, and stuff. And so I think they're just following suit with a lot of other competitive games to make it help fall in line, because I mean it's hard to find a 6v6 team sometimes, but it's a little easier to find like 3 or 4 guys that are, you know, at least for like professional gaming, you know, they're all the same caliber. And I think I was reading somewhere, I don't know where, but they were talking about how like if Destiny wanted a competitive scene and wanted like professional gaming and stuff like that, that they needed to go to that format in order for like events to host them or something. I'm not sure if that's an accurate statement, but yeah, I think that was a concern for them.
But talking about that though, um, they would like to have it. I mean, it's something that they've had on the radar. But if they're going to a more competitive scene, why are the console versions not 60 FPS? And I know they want that to be the console version to be pretty over frames. I understand that. Why aren't we having dedicated servers? I don't know. I was having a conversation with somebody in our clan earlier. They think that this is a move to be more competitive. I think it's just a move to make it easier to balance. Because I've heard a lot of chatter. Why don't they have the 60 FPS and why don't they have dedicated servers if they want this to be more quote unquote competitive? Or I mean, I guess not competitive. I guess tournament ready, because competitive and tournament ready can be slightly different. Do you think that they're going to go more tournament ready in the future? Obviously, I really would like dedicated servers, but do you think that's ever coming, or do you think this is just a way to move towards it, even if they're not putting a huge focus on it as a company?
The first step, I'd say. I mean, I'd really like to see them do sort of a facelift for the Scorpio in particular when it comes out. And I'm sure that the PS4 Pro probably has the capabilities to run this game at 60 frames per second too. Um,
Do we allow people on the original Xbox One to run 30 and the new people to run 60? I mean, I understand that's part of it, but do we have that discrepancy there? I don't know. That's the question. A couple more things about this that's going to make it a little bit more competitive, and to me makes it feel like the roots going back to Halo. So we haven't talked yet about the new weapon system. Basically, as I understand it, you have a kinetic weapon, your regular primary. You have a energy weapon, elemental primary, and then you have a power weapon, which all the specials except for sidearms have been pulled into. So fusion, snipers, shotguns, grenade launcher, rocket launcher, swords, and machine guns are now power weapons. So you essentially are going to have 2 primaries. And you have that one with the burn that's going to be able to help you take down enemy shields. You have that one with the burn in PvP that will help you do a little bit more damage to enemies in their super. But I think this is definitely a balancing thing, but also it's harkening back to the old style where you have those 2 weapons. Think Halo, especially in PvP. You had your battle rifle and your auto rifle. You had your auto rifle and your DMR in some games, and then there were power weapons on the map, and you would pick them up, and you'd be the only one with a sniper rifle. Well, in PvP specifically, when you pick up power ammo, you're the only one who has it. Your teammates don't have it. If you get shot picking it up, it stops the animation. And if you pick it up, it tells the enemy team that you picked it up and where you picked it up, because there are callouts on the minimap. And it will literally say in the kill feed or in the game feed that so and so picked it up in this room, so you know where they're coming from. That's an exciting change for me. While there are some games you may not ever get sniper ammo or you may not ever get shotgun ammo, it's not going. You can have powerful shotguns and snipers now, and not have to worry about balancing them too much, because you're only going to get them every once in a while, and only one person's going to have them.
I really like that change personally. That's I enjoy the Halo multiplayer and all that, and it's going to be great to see primaries kind of take center stage again over all of the very special heavy multiplayer.
Well, it's definitely going to be a big change for people who, I guess, camp sniping, or just kind of like to wait until you walk into a room. It's going to be harder for them to do that. It's gonna shake things up for sure.
Well, it's going to give the opportunity for me personally. I like auto rifles. I like scout rifles, but you're going to pick one. And so I generally pick auto. But now I don't have to pick one. You can set up primaries to be different ranges and have two of them, which is going to be just very, very fun. Or if for whatever reason you really like a certain hand cannon, you get that same style of hand cannon and kinetic and in your energy slot. I mean, switching the weapon's probably going to be faster than reloading, so you can just empty a clip, switch, empty that second clip. I don't know. It's just going to make for some more interesting play. And it's like I said, it's going to feel, to me, it looks like and seems like it's going to feel a whole lot more like their old style Halo, stuff like that. Yes, it's going to have the abilities and stuff. But back to your point where primaries are going to be in the game a little bit more. From what I understand, sticky grenades are not a one-hit kill. It now takes 3 regular melees to kill somebody if you do not have a charged melee. So the abilities are there, but they're more augmenting the gunplay now instead of being ahead of them. Like tonight, I ran Defender Titan, but I ran with double sticky nades with the Defender Titan. And that was my first play, was to throw that grenade out and see if I get a kill. And if I got a kill, I ran away. I didn't even shoot people in tonight's game. Now, your gameplay probably will still be to throw that grenade first. But if I get a stick, I'm going to have to follow it up with a shot or two to make sure they're dead. And so it's still going to rely on gunplay, which honestly is going to be great, especially for some of those players who may think they're a little bit worse in Crucible. You still need to be good. You still need to get used to doing certain things. But they will have an option instead of just being tagged by a fusion grenade or that guy sitting in the back with a sniper just kills you all the time. I think it's going to allow more people just to have more fun, whether or not they're good.
You actually have to get into the war zone and put forth a little bit more effort.
Well, and as you said, or as we've been talking about, it's giving back with the weapons and things. It's giving more people options to do different things, because personally I'd rock now with this setup, I'm gonna rock a scout rifle or an auto rifle and then a hand cannon, because you got your long range versus short range, and then you throw whatever in with the heavy weapon or power weapon or something. I think that kind of testifies or goes back to the old Halo multiplayer. You'd have your 2 weapons and then somebody would pick up a rocket launcher and then all hell breaks loose.
Hopefully they don't allow you to kill your own team, because my friends used to say I was just as dangerous to them as I was to the enemies with rockets.
I mean, we've all been team killed by rocket launchers. It's all
happened. Oh, I didn't. I always had sprint, and I would always get the rockets and kill everybody on my team.
But yeah, it's great. I think with the PvP, I think they have that down, especially since they created Halo. And the multiplayer for Halo 3 and stuff was, superb.
Well, and they also have Blizzard and Activision as part of their team. So while not directly influenced, they can still get ideas and bounce ideas off of. Anyways, go ahead.
I think the PvP stuff is where they're gonna hopefully shine a lot. And I think they're learning now too. Like I said, getting into that, finding out what the community wants, what's better, if they want to do tournaments and stuff like that. But I think I like that they're making some of those changes that you have with other games like Call of Duty and Halo and stuff like that.
Well, they're fitting space magic into gunplay now. It's not just space magic and then, I have a gun. It's, I have to shoot them and I have a little bit of space magic, which is, I think, is more what they want. And so it's going to be, a little bit more streamlined and fun to play.
Yeah, because everybody's been hit by that BS Nova Bomb or, that arc blader that you didn't see coming, because he's stealthed or whatever.
Or everybody running Icebreaker and Trials tonight.
Yeah. I think, like I said, going back to that competitive PvP stuff, the gunplay is there. It's the additional stuff that makes it a little better and more interesting and more unique. But at its core, you have to have that gunplay. And if you don't have that gunplay, then basically you're just running around with abilities, and just killing people. It's not super fun to watch, but it's also very maddening to play against if, you don't have those. So I think they're making a good move here by, making these changes to PvP.
Well, and from what I understand is they're making some of those power weapons, shotgun, snipers, fusions more powerful. So in PvE, you're not losing out from not having a sniper rifle, or if you choose to have a sniper rifle, not having another heavy weapon. And plus, from seeing some of the footage, the boss that they had, while it still had a lot of health because they were lower level than probably should have been. The boss wasn't so spongy on that strike and had mechanics. You essentially fought him 3 times from what I was watching, and so you're looking for more of your abilities and primary battles to damage him instead of worrying about, oh man, should I use the sniper? Should I use the rocket launcher? Like there are specific fights. For example, Wrath of the Machine, the last fight. If you don't have a Dark Drinker, you better have like Sleeper, or better have something that's going to damage him for a lot of do a lot of damage on him, because that's what you pretty much need to do max damage. And hopefully, what it looks like so far is you're not going to have to worry about that so much in PvE. But there'll definitely be ways to max out your DPS and stuff. But I think it's just going to be fun to be able to, you know what, I don't want to rock a sniper rifle tonight. Let me just rock a fusion rifle in both PvE and PvP. And so, I'm just excited about the new system. It's new, yes, but it's just going to be more accessible and, from what I see, easier to balance, so they're not screwing up PvE by completely taking something away because of PvP. Oh, I guess anything else y'all wanted to say about PvP or anything like that before I move on? Okay, so a lot of the things that we talked about last week, and I don't know if we had heard other people say them, actually came out. We would like more. We said we wanted more clan stuff in game. We wanted more chances for the solo player to do things, and we argued, what about that solo player? Well, Bungie came out and Bungie said there's something called guided games, which essentially gives the solo player no excuse to run solo. And so if the solo player has trouble getting up to that light level or doing in-game activities, they now have zero excuse. And I know this sounds a little bit harsh. They now have zero excuse to do it because guided games are out. And if you are in a clan and you have space for 1 or 2 more, or if you want to leave space for 1 or 2 more, you can post inside of Destiny 2 and say, we have a space for the new raid. You want to come and play it? And a solo player can click on that and go through lists or go through a couple of them, read what your clan's about, and join you. So there is a system for allowing non-clan mates to join you in-game. They're called guided games. So there's now zero excuse for those solo players who want to do some of the in-game content to do it. This is fantastic. The only concern that I kind of have is Epic being so huge. I think technically we have Epic, Epic 2, and Epic 3, and then we even have Epic 4 waiting for those people who are going to jump into that. But we have so many people in all these clans that I'm hoping there's a way to consolidate that, or maybe make it easier where, like, whoever is the party leader is your clan's being represented, But there is now a way for solo players to join you, or for you to say, let's help somebody random out there. And I don't know, I was like, there's so many times where we can get 5 people very quickly, but that 6th person is
Yes,
just like,
that
I can't.
one person.
Yeah. Or the one person gets on and says, oh, sorry, or something happens, you're like, oh, well, I actually got to go take care of this, something like that. And so that's just going to be cool to allow people to jump. And they showed off Nightfalls, they showed off raids, or they talked about raids, they talked about Nightfalls, they talked about PvP. So pretty much any activity that could be considered quote-unquote in-game is going to allow this, which is awesome.
I think, as I said last week, I think that was me who brought that up. As somebody who didn't have a clan to start when I first started playing Destiny, and I got to level 40 pretty quickly, when I got to the end, I was like, well, I don't know what to do anymore. I don't have any friends that play Destiny. I mean, I had like maybe 3 friends on Xbox at the time, and they were just like people I knew in real life, but they didn't play. Um, I think that's a massive change for people. And as you said, there's no excuse for anybody now. Um, because, yeah, I mean, you can if you want. That's definitely an option. But I mean, like, there's no reason why you have to anymore. You don't have to LFG. You don't have, because like, I know I did that a lot trying to do the Wrath of the Machine raid. Like, I was trying to LFG and everything, couldn't find anybody to do it, found terrible teams, that kind of thing. But I mean, it wasn't until like I started, like, when I actually joined Epic that I actually had people to play with and things like that. And that was the entire reason why I like even considered joining Epic, was so that way I'd have people to play with, consistently. So I think it gives the solo player better opportunities, just to find people.
The social aspect of Destiny is why I love it so much. I mean, I've grinded this game until my fingers fell off, but I keep coming back to it because I've met so many awesome people, and within making these guided games, the people that haven't had that experience yet are finally going to get to know what it feels like to have people who are going to help you through the raid and get to feel what Destiny was supposed to be like in the first place.
Well, they even gave a stat of, from what they see, it was roughly 50% of people who hit max level never even attempted a raid or never even attempted trials or something like that. And so they're wanting to pull more people in, but in doing that, in saying we want more people to experience the full game, they're going to be helping us find clans and stuff that find people we want to play with. I'm really excited to see where Epic goes. The 100 is going to have to cap our clan limit somewhere.
Well, I saw an article about it. Bungie's supposed to be giving us bigger numbers, so that 150 limit is supposed to go up. They didn't say what number it was, but it is supposed to get bigger. Hopefully, we won't have Epic 1, 2, 3, and 4. Hopefully, we'll just have one group.
If we have more than one group, maybe it stops at 500. Maybe we'll have Epic and Epic 2 instead of. But what I'm saying is, even if something like that doesn't happen, I'm excited to see our growth on the 100, things like that, where we can aggregate all of them. But it's just going to be excited to be able to pull that random more easily in, instead of having to go and invite them in the tower and say, "Oh, well, I see that you don't have a lot of in-game gear," that kind of thing. You now can have the option of just say, "Okay, join me. Whoever wants to join me, come do it." And so while there's still going to be people that aren't going to do the raid, there's still going to be people that are going to play it and play it every day, but play it themselves. If you want to enjoy this content, there's going to be a way for you to do it, and that's just going to be awesome. Speaking of clans too, they said there's going to be clans tracking, clan rewards, different things like that. And so, being part of a clan is actually, being part of a clan is actually going to do something.
We get to do more stuff. Customizable banners for your clan. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, like, hopefully we have a bigger clan then, so we have one banner. But just things like that. So there's more integration into it, and it's going to be so much more socially. As much as I played Destiny 1, I was technically, I guess, a solo player, LFGing and stuff, up through even halfway through Rise of Iron. And so hopefully that experience will not happen to as many players. And I had a great time, don't get me wrong. I'm super addicted to Destiny, and it's pretty much my main game. But, Mass Effect came out in March. If I wasn't part of Epic on the 100, I would have stopped doing it. I would have stopped playing, and I would have focused 100% on Mass Effect. And I like that game. But being part of this group is saying, oh, even though we're at the tail ends of this, I still want to play every day. I think the stuff they're implementing in Destiny 2 is going to make more people do that, which is phenomenal.
And the raids are really fun. A lot of people avoid it because they have no one to play with. But once you play any of the raids, it's really, really fun, especially with a group of people you enjoy playing a game with. Even if you've ran it 50 times or one time, everybody getting an experience now.
Well, and part of this thing too is you're not going to be put in a random group. Clans will be given the option of putting their motto, what they're about, up. So if you say, if you're a solo player and say, I want to play this raid, and a group comes up that says, super hardcore, better have the best of the best weapons, you just skip them. If you want to be super hardcore and you have the best of the weapons, you got them by yourself, go ahead, join them, But you can look at and select the group you want to join that fits you too. So you're not just being randomly put in there, you're choosing who to join. So Epic can put out, hey, group of chill people, be chill, just come in and play. We'll make it work. If we don't make it work, then we'll just have fun. Somebody can jump in there and say, oh, well, just chill group of people. That's what I want to do. But somebody can look and see Epic, and hopefully they don't do this, but man, that's a chill group of people. I want a more hardcore group that's going to try to get this raid done in under like an hour. I don't know why a solo player would be saying that. But if a solo player did say that, they have the option to choose a group like that. And so, any of y'all have any questions? I've been rambling or any thoughts about this? I've been rambling on the last 5 minutes. So
you've pretty much said what I've been thinking. I'm really excited about all the new clan possibilities. You get to do more stuff.
Is there anything I'm missing? I know there's a bunch of information that is out there. I know there's new weapon types. Sidearms have been changed to be a little less powerful so they can be primaries. We're getting SMGs. We're getting... I think it's technically called a minigun style of auto rifle. And we're getting grenade launchers. Which all these new gun types are just going to be so much fun to use. But is there anything I'm really missing? I don't know if there's anything I'm missing from the reveal that we can go in depth on.
No, not so much. I think that covered it pretty well.
All right. Well, I guess it looks like, guys, that we're getting ready to end this. I guess I'm just gonna have to say they showed us the gameplay reveal. They gave us a whole bunch of information. There's still E3 coming out. There's still a beta to come out sometime this summer. Hopefully they'll tell us when it is in E3. So there's still more to see. A lot
more to get hyped up on.
And I know that, I know Activision and Bungie are definitely good at that hype train. I haven't felt this way. And I know I was looking forward to Destiny when it first came out, but I have not felt this way since Halo Reach came out, or since Call of Duty Black Ops 2 came out, when I was looking for them. And I know it's me personally, I'm probably getting extra hype, more hype than I should be. But I'm finally getting super excited for a game. They've shown this stuff, and I want to play it so badly. And I think they've learned quite.
You've already asked off for the whole week. You're going to be sick on September 8th. Your vacation time. Oh yeah, that's already done for me. I've already got that whole weekend blocked off. I'm going to be conveniently sick on September 8th.
Sadly, not yet, because I am an educator, and if I have an education job, I'm not going to be able to do that. But besides that, it's just I'm so much more hyped with this. I'm so much more excited for it now that I've seen that they're actually taking the time to create what they wanted, to listen to feedback from the community and try to integrate that in there. It's not going to be Destiny 1.5. It's actually going to be a full-fledged sequel. And it's going to feel like a sequel with all the changes and stuff.
I said that a couple of weeks ago when we discussed, Destiny 2 and stuff, and I was like, before I get super pumped about it, I want to see more. And now that I've seen more, I'm like, I want it to come. Why is it not September yet? Watching the reveal trailer the other day, I was sitting here and I was just fired up and ready to play.
Well, we're going to get more information in E3 and all that. I want to thank you guys for being on here again. I want to especially thank you, Derg, for being part of this podcast. I would like to thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I would like you to say thank you for joining that Nightfall.
I'm so glad I did.
Hey guys, this is ACB again. If you've listened this far, this is kind of an announcement that we will not have a podcast come out on May 28th. That's next week. We're going to have birthday celebrations. We're going to have Memorial Day celebrations. We're going to be hanging out with family. So it's going to be hard to get us all there together. And so we're just going to not do a podcast next week. And then on June the 4th, we will have Radio Epic Episode 8.